Welcome to The Explainer. We're all about breaking down big ideas, and today we're going to tackle something you probably use every single day, a simple document file. But believe it or not, there's this whole hidden story of ethics, waste, and, control that's just lurking right under the surface.
All right, let's just jump right in with a number. 100 Indian rupees. Now you're probably thinking, what on earth does that have to do with a document file?
Well, believe it or not, that's the price some public institutions are paying per page for, get this, unnecessary formatting. I mean, it's a task that open source software can do for absolutely free. But instead, this whole cottage industry has popped up, and it literally profits from just pure inefficiency.
So, let's be clear. This isn't some official tax you'd find on a government form or anything. Think of it more like an invisible tax. It's a cost that comes from being totally dependent on certain proprietary software, and from a workflow that is, as you're about to see, just completely and utterly broken.
And this quote, wow, it just hits the nail on the head. We're talking about a culture where ignorance has become an income stream. This system isn't an accident. It actually thrives because so many of us don't fully understand the tech we're using. And that lack of knowledge, it's been turned into a very reliable way for some people to make money.
So you gotta ask, right? What's the real root of this whole problem? Well, a lot of the time, it boils down to one thing. Institutions insisting, almost demanding, that everyone use one specific commercial product. A product we've all just kind of accepted as the default, Microsoft Word.
Okay, let's break this down because it's super important to get the difference. On one side, you have an open standard. Think of it like a public recipe. The instructions are out there for anyone to see and use. It's a shared resource. On the other side, you've got a proprietary product. This is more like a secret formula, owned by one company. It's their tool, they control it. And if you rely on it too much, you can get locked in.
And this dependency, it's not just a minor inconvenience. It creates some pretty serious risks. For one, every time there's a software update, your document's layout can just change. Poof. Your files also get trapped inside that one company's world. And what's really scary is you could actually lose access to your own old documents if your license runs out. It completely undermines the whole point of having a stable, reliable record.
Which brings us to this powerful idea. Compelling people to use Microsoft Word transforms a neutral tool into a monopoly vector. This really gets to the core ethical problem, right? Public institutions are supposed to be neutral for everyone, but when they force everyone to use one company's product, they're not neutral anymore. They're basically acting as a sales agent for that company. The source we're looking at calls this a structural impropriety.
So let's zoom out a bit and see how all this snowballs into a much, much bigger issue. We're way beyond just wasting a bit of money now. The argument is that this is a full-blown failure on 3 separate and pretty damaging levels.
So again, this isn't just some tech nerd problem. The consequences fall into 3 big buckets. First, it's a major ethical failure. Second, it's a huge financial contradiction. And third, it's actually just a worse technical choice for keeping public records safe and sound.
And here's the fiscal contradiction in a nutshell. Public funds, your tax money, are being used to pay for these expensive software licenses. But it gets worse. At the very same time, the mandate forces students, researchers, regular citizens, to also buy that same software just so they can interact with these public bodies. It's like paying twice, a double dip where a private company wins and the public pays the bill.
And this is the absolutely wild workflow that can cost up to 100 rupees a page. Just look at this madness. A perfectly good document comes in as a PDF. Then it's converted back into a Word file, someone is paid to manually mess around with the formatting, and then it's exported again as a PDF. It's this ridiculous, pointless loop that adds zero value. It only exists because of this baked-in dependency on one product.
So is there a better way? You bet there is. And thankfully, it's a really clear one. The whole solution is to just embrace the open standards that already exist. I'm talking about internationally recognized formats designed from the ground up for clarity, long-term survival, and access for everybody.
And here are the stars of the show. You've got things like LaTeX, which is legendary in the academic world for creating perfect, reproducible documents. You have the Open Document Format, or ODF, which is an actual international standard for Office docs. And then there's PDF/A, which is another standard specifically for long-term permanent archiving. These aren't obscure tools. They're the building blocks for a system that's strong, totally free, and just ethically sound.
Okay, but you might have heard this one before, right? The big argument for Word is often, well, you can't edit a PDF. The idea is that they're locked down, final. But here's the thing, that's a myth. And it's one of the biggest misconceptions that keeps this whole wasteful cycle going.
The reality? It's just technically false. It's not true. From the very beginning, the whole point of the portable document format, PDF, was that it could be modified. It was designed to handle things like comments, annotations, and edits.
And you don't have to take my word for it. Just look at all these incredible open-source tools that exist right now. LibreOffice Draw, Ocular, you name it. They can all handle PDFs, annotating, rearranging, managing them just fine. And they don't cost a dime. The tools are there. It's the awareness that's been lacking.
So, let's put it side by side. Remember that crazy, wasteful loop from before? Now look at this. A proper, disciplined workflow. You draft in an open format, you review using standard PDF comments, and then you publish a final, unchangeable version for the archives. It's simpler, it's way more secure, and here's the kicker, it is 100% free.
Okay, so how do we actually fix this? It's a big, deep-seated problem. But the good news is, the source material doesn't just complain about it. It actually gives a super clear step-by-step path for institutions to get back on track.
It all boils down to making changes in 4 key areas. First, policy. Just start accepting open formats. Done. Second, money. Stop paying for these pointless manual conversions and actually look at where the money's going. Third, education. Teach people about digital ethics and open source. And finally, you wrap it all in one big ethical promise. No one should ever be forced to buy software just to participate in public life.
And really, this all comes down to a fundamental shift in how we think about documents. The key word here is immutability. For a final, official record, what's more important? That it's easy to edit or that it's impossible to change by accident? The integrity of the document, making sure it's a faithful, unchangeable record, that's what really matters. And that's exactly what open standards are built for.
Because at the end of the day, what's the whole point of public documentation? It's about clarity. It's about serving the public good. It's not supposed to be about serving a commercial interest or propping up one company's business model.
And that really is the big question this all leaves us with. Should public knowledge that belongs to all of us, be locked behind a private commercial product? It kind of makes you rethink something we do every day without a second thought, doesn't it? Thanks for joining us for this explainer.